Up next, a very important missing update that's fairly short, but a very, very vital nonetheless on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Turns out there were certain victims and much, much more going on from Aspen, the Aspen Hills of Colorado, to other locations in Wyoming. And it all crosses over with the company known as Databank. As it turns out, Jeffrey Epstein had some connection for some reason to Sultan Bin Sulayem, as he's called. That's up next on the JTC channel.
So yeah, folks, this is it. This is very, very fascinating, is what I will say. By the way, welcome one and all to JTC Investigations here. But what I will say is fascinating about this is I spoke to one individual. I spoke to at least one or two female individuals who, investigate and look at kind of shady things, right? Shady technology. And they both basically said that, oh no, that's perfectly normal. There's nothing, unusual going on here. Yes, this is Databank. That's correct. Databank gives enterprise systems or enterprises, technology developers and content providers the confidence in knowing their applications and data are always secure and always available. So a very, very fascinating place, to say the least, right? And well, if you would even believe this or not, there's a guy who's in charge of this place. They call him Derek. Derek, no question there, right? Because as I was going over there, to take kind of a tour of that area and kind of get more real bearings
Really
there of the
focus
area,
on our
right?
customers,
There are these videos playing and so on.
knowing that every business is different. So
Interesting to see the aesthetics here. Everything about this building is covered in kind of transparent, well, not transparent, but more opaque style glass, right? And as I was going here near the databank facility, there was somebody outside. I don't recognize exactly who the people are, but just somebody outside who started yelling kind of near where these train stations are located. So where the train comes in and out, there was somebody outside actually in this area at night. It was kind of interesting to say, the least. But yeah, no, there's nothing shady about Databank. There's no way, it's just completely normal. Of course, if you can't tell, I am using a hint of sarcasm there. Now, this is a very unusual place, and here's what I mean by that. This is where Databank is located, right? Yeah, this doesn't exactly look like a perfectly normal building. And keep in mind, I physically was directly next to Databank. I could go to the train area and so forth, but see a lot of this facility, see if I can get a better photo here. A lot of this facility is closed off and surrounded by this kind of railroad track that goes completely around for no explanation, of course. And it's parallel to, the trains that come sometimes on the light rail. So I got, for my first go at really getting over here, I got over here kind of where, as you can see, Databank is interesting because when I went there, made the first go of it, I was able to make it basically out to where you see there with the tree line and kind of the buildings and so forth. I couldn't get any closer to the Databank facility. It's literally hidden by all these trees and this interesting building thing, in the distance. Uh, but I am going, I'm going out of what's going to be able to go to there, via shuttle or just other means. But what's fascinating about Databank is over here, in the perimeter over here, to the woods and so forth, kind of the area of the bridge, there were people outside, and one of them it was at night, of course. So one of them was kind of yelling something for some reason, and of course, Databank's windows are very, very closed off. So you look at this and you see, well, yeah, you can't look in there. You can't look in there for any reason to see what kind of things that they might be doing. So I really highly doubt that it's only development on applications or something. I hate to be somebody who brings a theory into this or something, but it's what they're doing, inside Databank's network hub here. The other fascinating thing is the train tracks, including part of the light rail, actually block this area almost completely off from normal, access routes. Like I said, it takes almost a shuttle or a special type of accommodation. From what I've seen with Derek, he has a very interesting backstory. Now, I'm not saying that he is or isn't a part of things, but wouldn't you know it? Derek Kooi is kind of a technology manager here at Databank, and he's been there for quite a while. Very interesting guy, okay? He's developed applications for mobile developers, both online and offline. Cameras, instructions, you name it. And also for instructions of, well, not going to get into it right now, but people taking tests and different kinds of projects, perhaps tests for somebody who wants to test out certain things for flight, even, or other things. But what I've always noticed about them is they don't really roll out the welcome mat, so to speak. They're a bit secretive. And there are some interesting stories out there. I would just say stories for right now, because, I plan to officially tour one of these glass house areas that's owned by Databank. But just some interesting ideas out there concerning Epstein and how Epstein was kind of linked to Databank in certain ways, or was a very prominent person in helping to support their image, or their public image out there. So there's some suspect things that have happened at this facility, and without understanding everything, I'm not going to accuse anyone out. They were claiming it happened to be. There is more that's going on at Databank that really investigated properly. There's also the fact that some of the owners of Databank are not very public people. You would expect that a public company, this perfectly, would be a lot more open to, but they're not. They're not exactly that way. And the glass tour that someone is going to be going on and so on is not exactly set up that way. Now they're saying they want to have AI that will one day, or perhaps one day soon, accommodate, trains, different transports, shuttles, and the company known as NIST, which kind of makes it interesting, I'm sure there's equally many things at Databank that are perhaps suspect as there are things that are perfectly normal. But my main concern, as I'm sure some of you will be aware, is that we don't really know anything that's really that in the public eye or that tangible about Databank, And of course, all their windows are blacked out. No possible way to really see, quote unquote, through the windows to see what they're working on. So maybe it's nothing but interesting. So, yeah, we will be looking at that further, and I'm also going to look a little bit more at Epstein's possible connections with the Databank system, because I'm sure you will find that very interesting, and I found it to be interesting as well. Thank you. A little more to come here. To get into too much detail with this because um, uh, people have this being investigated. I have somebody. What the Epstein files say about Colorado in specific. At least two of Jeffrey Epstein's victims had close ties to Colorado, including one. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking victims throughout certain parts of Colorado in specific. Says she was unwilling to leave the river and flew from the Durango airport to go to Miami. So she missed one of the flights. She missed the train. And well, what's interesting about this, right, is interesting about this is obviously I'll take a few hits when speaking about these things. That's okay. We'll go straight through that. But attempted to get to the platform for the train and also at the airport and was unable to do so. She lived tent at the river. So she's going in there and she's supposed to testify, on this trafficking issue, this trafficking case. And she couldn't get there to the actual summit for where the trafficking, complete investigation is occurring. She was not alone. She's not the only person who was a victim of Epstein who happened to be going about her business, throughout Durango, Colorado, and so on. As a family member, right? They're just going on business as usual. And what is very interesting is that was very, very close to, in fact, it's in the same area, essentially, as where Databank is housed. So I find that kind of fascinating. Databank requires, well, at least this is what the alleged claims are, it requires you to own a Trillium badge, a special top-level ID card, to enter their facilities as you would normally. And of course, they're talking all about how, this so-called Denver law firm that they talk about anyway, and they say, some other interesting things about that, is connected to a data hoarder. He calls himself Data Hoarder. And Data Hoarder happens to have an account at other places. And what do you know? One of those places is essentially Databank, which I find interesting. It means Databank Inc. is about more than just, I don't know, showcasing nifty trinkets that you can do with your computer. AI controlled algorithms and things on the computer. It's also about information. And information, as we are well aware, is power. And if they have that information, at Databank in regards to Epstein, and also perhaps, I don't know, include other materials we haven't gotten to yet that show Epstein was visiting Aspen often and also, well, attending gatherings that Databank puts on, that starts to paint a different picture. Really does, doesn't it? So Data Hoarder says they have thousands of files drawn from the Oversight Committee using a specialized AI tool that, by the way, was also used to assist certain things in Aspen. And apparently, that's how they were able to create the quote, single largest Epstein archive in a long time on the World Wide Web. This is what Data Hoarder is claiming foreknowledge of. So if they are, in fact, because they haven't really covered their tracks great, they are in fact employees of Databank or perhaps affiliated with the company in some fashion because of the fact that some of their people have been to that specific area, and also the fact that just, circumstantially, all of the windows for Databank are completely blacked out, very opaque. It's not easy just to, visit it and see what's going on in there. Well, anyway, Occam's razor says for me that there's probably more happening at Databank Inc., given its actual location, its headquarters, and the other two victims kind of basically having to travel to Florida for that other hearing concerning the other 10 victims that apparently have come forward and said that Epstein trafficked, you know, every last one of them. So if that's the case, and I can't, break into the whole archive yet, so I can't say that that is in fact the case. But if that's the case, based upon the ties of the law firm to some of the shady things that have occurred at Databank, and also, of course, Data Hoarder, kind of crossing over very neatly with Databank. I would put two and two together here and say Databank needs to really be looked over, you know. But of course, you will never see the mainstream media speaking about this, nor the fact that the Aspen Institute, of all things, right? Aspen, in Aspen, Colorado, was a part of a major seminar for Jeffrey Epstein, where victims alleged that they were trafficked through these key areas. But in any case, you're hearing about it here, and I'm making it loud and clear. You know what? I feel like we need to give Databank a closer look. And so that's exactly what certain people intend to do. Thank you. Thank you for going on this journey. A couple more photos of this and information on Derek. Derek Kooi is his name, right? And then we will be done for now. Stay tuned. This is JTC Investigations. So here it is, some very, very key and important information in regards to uh, Epstein, in regards to Databank. Dubai Trade, the innovative trade facilitating entity for Dubai World, represents the original vision of Dubai as a leading hub for e-commerce, an unrivaled trade and competitive nature, said Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Solyayem, the chairman of DP World, in a grand appearance. He made the remarks during the visit to the Dubai Trade Show as the head office of the galleries in downtown Jebel Ali. Ceremony was attended to by Mohammed Sharaf, Chief Executive Officer, Al Mualam, Senior Vice Officer and President for the UAE region, Mahmoud al-Bastaki, and Farid Mohammed Ahmed, Secretary General. The new head office caps a long period of robust growth for Dubai Trade and its portfolio of integrated innovative services designed to serve the growing clientele of DP World, Economic Zone World, Dubai Customs, and Dubai Multi. Today, Dubai Trade offers its customers 758 unique e-commerce services, more than the services offered in 2009 and 10 times the number offered when it was established in 2003. The number of companies that are registered through DP World has risen to over 42,400 by the end of March of this year, from 5,000 just 8 years ago. Over 11.4 million transactions were coordinated through the portal on DubaiTrade.ae last year. Now, here's the importance of this, folks. Believe it or not, the Dubai Emirati, as he calls himself, is a frequent benefactor of Dubai World and none other than, of course, the Databank. He has attended events before because, of course, Dubai World is kind of an honorary, for events that deal with Databank directly. So they are affiliated. I won't say that Bin Sulayem is an official proponent for Databank, but he is definitely affiliated with them. This is what concerns me about this. Bin Sulayem has been on many occasions a frequent speaker and visitor to Turkey, where they really talk about some, in my opinion, barbaric things in regards to the Middle East and having certain people cut up, including people of Israel, of Kuwait, of Lebanon, and similar things. And so my concern here is, so what that there's a Sultan affiliated with Databank, right? Well, my concern here is only affiliated or indirectly connected to Databank. He's a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein, as we can see here with proof in hand. Here the Emirati billionaire Bin Sulayem with Prince William at the Dubai port and the London Gateway Freeport in Thurrock, Essex in March of 2016 with Lord Peter Mandelson. So this guy who some labeled as kind of a butcher type figure, quote, for Baru or similar places, the Bin Sulayem, as he's called, is a great friend of Prince William and Jeffrey Epstein. So if he find out about the trafficking? It says Bin Sulayem was one of 40 global transport leaders for Dubai and for the Dubai World Transit. Yesterday forced to step down from his role at DP World after the emerging evidence he and Epstein having emailed each other. Well, I mean, some are going to say that, so what, that Bin Sulayem does things with cryptocurrency, does things with Databank, and so on, and Epstein. And yet here, well, trafficking, see? And so I would say that there may not be like a financial record showing Bin Sulayem and Epstein tied together, but there's enough circumstantial evidence, I would say, that they are good friends. So always go out there and learn and explore. It says Bin Sulayem is a charity commission in all of this work with these various cryptocurrency organizations, but specifically also, Databank and the data center and area whose identities were redacted. So Bin Sulayem is in the Epstein files as a very good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. And that's what this proves. So Epstein, if he knew Bin Sulayem, he had to have also known about Databank. And what else might he? This here, folks, is Databank. These are some photos of the actual outskirts I was able to get when I was close to the property. About as close as I could get to the property through the normal channels. You can see kind of the perimeter of the building is very, very hard to spot. If you close in on it, you can see it over the horizon of the hill there. And that is, of course, Databank. And Databank uses what are known as Trillium badges. Very special badges for the type of work that they do. Now, they are an interesting arena. They are very technological as far as technology is the way that they do things. They're technologically inclined, and they do a lot of work with cryptocurrency. Dubai World, of course, supports some of their events sometimes and offers them just opportunities or sponsor opportunities. And so Bin Sulayem is connected to them. It's kind of loosely affiliated with this enterprise, and they do a lot of interesting tours of that, which we are not aware of exactly what type of activities are being done there as of yet. But of course, we see then Bin Sulayem is very closely affiliated, or at least they claim he is a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. So that would, through the third party, link Epstein directly to the company of Databank. So very interesting. But of course, we always like to hear from you and what your feedback is and your understanding and awareness. So sound off in the comments down below and tell us your thoughts and what you are thinking today. And also look forward to the follow-up we have on the OceanGate incident, which is going to be very eye-opening for many people. And thank you, of course. There is always more to explore. If you haven't, check the details in the video. Read more about Jurassic Park, Terror of Site C. And I will catch you on the next video as we move forward through some interesting things. I'm going to be visiting Databank officially